I'm Paige. This is my second year on the trip, and I'm so excited. Team 3!
Woo!
First of all, I would like to apologize because, number one, I know for a fact that my face is going to get red at some point. No, I'm not sunburned. Second of all, the last time I spoke was to a bunch of middle school girls, so I will try to make this a little bit more age appropriate. So starting off with what I want to talk about tonight, I'm just going to share a little bit of my testimony to give you a background of the things I wanted to share with you and why I wanted to share them. So growing up, I've always been a little bit different. I come from a small town in Kansas where you're Mennonite and you play sports, and you're farmers. That's the three main things coming from Heston. And I've never been quite a coordinated athletic person. So that was kind of a challenge moving into middle school when sports was the big thing and I was really into singing and dance and the arts. But to keep my friends, I decided to go out for volleyball anyway. Well, it was no surprise when I made the C team and everyone else made the B team. And that sounds really insignificant, but as you all know, the present time that you're in feels like the biggest point in your life right now. And looking back, I know that was so insignificant, but it was significant to my walk with the Lord. And so as I was separated with my friends kind of during that time, we continued to grow apart. And I continued to try to be like everyone else to fit in, but it really didn't make any sense because I wasn't fitting in not being myself, and I wasn't going to fit in being myself, so I didn't really know how to fit in. Well, as we all know, as Christians, we are not a part of this world and we are not going to fit in. But I felt very alone. I grew very depressed subconsciously and had a couple of suicide attempts. And this was all very secret. I didn't share it with anyone, not my parents or anyone else. I went to church camp and I talked to one of my counselors about the problem, and she told my mom, and I got some counseling. But although my counselor was great, I can remember that this was truly the point in my life where I said, God, I know you're real and I love you and I have nothing left, so I need you to step in right now and save me. And I'm just going to lean on you and trust you. And so I truly believe that's when I became a Christian. It was a couple years ago when I was 13. Backing up a little bit, I grew up in a Christian home, so Christ was always present, and I knew I loved him, and I went to church, but I don't really think I really knew what it meant to be a Christian until I hit this crucial point in my life. So moving into high school, things got a little bit better. I could do the things I liked, and people thought it was kind of cool. I made some more friends, and things started to get a little bit easier. So I kind of backed off a little bit, said, okay, God, you know, I'm doing all right. I'm just kind of cruising along. And I let myself get distracted, and I don't know if any of y'all know what that distraction would be. I started to date. So, you know, I thought, oh, these are nice Christian boys. You know, what could go wrong? We'll probably get married by the time I graduate, and everything will be fine. Obviously, that is not the case. So I began to place my self-worth and value in what those boys, and not just the boys, but what other people in high school and all around me thought of me. And whenever you place your trust and your self-worth in someone else, you are going to be disappointed because Jesus is the only person who I promise will never let you down. So a gift that I feel like I've been blessed with, and I'm so thankful for, is I've always been very quick to forgive. I don't hold grudges very often, not for a long time. It's just always been very easy for me to, you know, make up, forgive, and forget, and move on. As we're younger, everything is so black and white, right and wrong. And you know that you like mac and cheese and you don't like broccoli. You know what words to say and you know what words not to say. But I feel that as we grow older, some gray areas start to form. And you aren't always sure what is right and what is wrong. And that's one of the hardest parts, I think, about growing up, is forming your opinion on all of those things. That can also be the way in situations where your parents maybe got divorced, or your best friend cheated on a test, or a teacher gave you a grade that you didn't feel you were deserving of. And you start to think, wait a minute, I have a say, I have a right in this, and no, you know what, I don't think I want to forgive this person, or I think maybe, maybe they should learn a lesson. Well, that's not what we're called to do. But I have learned I am my own worst enemy, and I have the hardest time not necessarily forgiving others, but forgiving myself. I am very much of a perfectionist. I get a twisted thrill out of acing a test, or I love working out. I love cleaning my room. I'm just very bad. I love having everything in order. And so I think even the littlest things, this is the stuff, I think it's called by Francesca Battistelli. I can totally relate to that song because little things just set me off. Recently, in the past year or so, I have allowed people to take advantage of me and use me because they know I am such a people pleaser and a perfectionist, and they also know that I'm such a forgiving person. I've struggled with friendships, letting my friends do or say things to me that obviously weren't right, but it's tough to know whether you stand up to them or whether you turn the other cheek. Relationships, all kinds of things. And because of not knowing how to deal with that situation, and as far as friends go, like I said, coming from a small town, you don't have a lot of options. You can't burn bridges with someone because you're going to have to deal with that person in your next class. So because of a lot of that, I've carried a lot of guilt around and a lot of baggage, as Josiah was saying, and it's been very tough. But y'all listen to K-Love. I'm sure you've heard the song Drops in the Ocean like 10 million times by Hot Nelson because they overplay all of their songs. But the lyrics are, if you want to know how far my love can go, just how deep, just how wide. If you want to see how much you mean to me, look at my hands, look at my side. If you can count the times I say you are forgiven, it's more than the drops in the ocean. And every time I hear it, I just start breaking down because it just reminds me of that every single second that Jesus was up there suffering and dying on the cross. It was for me and for all the mistakes that he knew I would make throughout my entire life because he loved me that much. So moving into forgiving others. I think it's a subconscious thing because you don't realize it, but you're unforgiving them or holding a grudge, whether it's consuming you or it's in the back of your mind, has a hold on you. And until you truly forgive that person, you're not going to be free. And forgiveness sets you free. You're called to forgive 70 times 7 times, which I didn't get a very good grade in math this year, but I know that's a lot more than I'm sure I've done in my lifetime. I think as a society, we kind of have a warped image of forgiveness and view it as being a weakness or saying that it's excusing what the person has done. And I just want to say it does not excuse them for what they have done, but it means you are stronger than the situation and you are willing to work past that. Not even necessarily for the other person, but for yourself. Because you cannot fully pursue God when you are still holding on to the other things that people have done to you or that you have done yourself. Ephesians 4:31-32 says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger. Be kind and compassionate to one another and forgiving just as Christ forgives you. I think about all the times I mess up in one day and how amazing it is that Jesus can just wave it away and say, that's okay because you love me and I love you. So I really want to encourage you. I'm sure we're all dealing with something right now, and whether, if it does happen to be forgiveness, whether that means sitting down with that person face to face and talking to them, or if it's something you have to work out yourself, or something you have to forgive yourself for, don't wait until tomorrow. Because, again, if you want to have a full experience on this trip, it helps so much to just be baggage free, and you can feel a physical weight lifted off your shoulders once you truly learn to move past that. Take comfort in the fact that we've all sinned, every single person in this room. You can look around and not see one perfect person. And we also all need to forgive each other. That is something we're all called to do. So the prayer that I strive to pray and encourage you to as well is the Matthew West song, Forgiveness. Show me how to love the unlovable. Show me how to reach the unreachable. Show me how to do the impossible, forgiveness. Because once you finally forgive others and forgive yourself every day without reason or thinking about it, you will be set free. Thank you.